For those of you who don't know, can you explain what an SBA loan is?
Yes, so the SBA loan, that's a Small Business Administration. So it's a government program.
Most people know SBA for PPP.
Exactly. That's what we heard about it in 2020 with the EIDL loans, PPP loans. But it's been out since the 1950s, right? And so many people have been taking advantage of this, but we didn't take advantage of it because we didn't know about it in our community. So, you know, I take pride in educating our community on the SBA loans. So we got different types of SBA loans, right? You got the SBA 7A loan, which I'll break down a little later. That's how you go out there and you buy self-storage facilities. You have the SBA 504 loan, which is another loan where you can utilize that to buy bigger self-storage facilities. So the 7A is more for entry level. You have SBA Express loans, which is for small businesses. So if you just want to buy a business as is, right? You might want to buy a trucking company, a restaurant, right? You get the SBA Express loan. You have SBA working capital loans, and plus hundreds of other loans. But those are the loans that I specifically has worked on and pretty much being able to get my hands on.
All right, so can you explain the process? You said it was an SBA 7A?
7A.
All right, so can you explain the process of obtaining an SBA loan to purchase real estate?
So the SBA 7A loan, the reason why I love it is because they finance you up to 90%. So you just have to come to the table with 10% down. So if you find a self-storage facility, my first facility was $750,000. So 10% down, $75,000 with closing costs and fees that came with it. You took them like $85,000, right? 650 minimum credit score. So it's very generous when it comes to a credit profile. You know, lending guidelines are pretty tight right now. So 650 minimum credit score. You also need to have no collections, no loan defaults, no bankruptcies. Your credit report need to be clean. SBA do require paperwork. So if they're going to give you a bunch of money up to $5 million, you just can't walk in the bank without the paperwork, right? So they are going to ask you for a business plan because you're buying a business. And I'll talk about some strategies to how you can create your business plan. But having a business plan, they also assign you a business analyst. That's another reason why I love the SBA, because not only when they give you the loan, they want to make sure that you actually run the business properly and that they're protecting their investment, right? So they're going to assign you a business analyst that you'll work with every single quarter, go over your business, go over your facility, go over your acquisition, tax returns, 2 years, P&L statements. That's pretty much all the documents that you do need because you're buying a business. Now, the good thing is if somebody's starting out and they're new, they may not have all these documents, but if you're buying a self-storage facility, the seller who is selling that facility may have the P&L statements, the tax returns, and a lot of the financials. So you utilize that to help you towards that acquisition, even if you don't have it like starting out.
So if you're buying the real estate that has a business attached to it, like storage facilities, I'm trying to think like a restaurant, for example, is another one that I can think of at the top of my head. You can actually use the financials of the business that's already operating for you to get approved for. That's dope.
So it's two ways they evaluate it, right? So number one, when you buy the real estate, so the appreciation of that land that you own, the value of the land, and then the actual business. So it's EBITDA. So earnings before interest, taxes, amortization. They look at that business revenue as well. So the combination of those is how they're going to qualify that purchase.
So for me as investor that's going in, let's just say I'm a brand new investor, I don't really need any paperwork. Is that what you're saying? Or an established business?
There you go. You don't need an established business, right? Because you're buying a business, which is going to help you out. But you do need paperwork on you as a person, right? Because I still want to see your credit profile. I still want to see your W-2s or 1099s. You still need to have some type of documented income, because if the facility, so for example, we buy distressed facilities, right? So not every facility we buy is bringing in revenue right away. So during that time of you getting it up to speed where you can start to generate revenue, we need to see, or the banks need to see, what's your income like? Can you support, making a certain type of investment to keep that facility going? So you definitely want to make sure that you have tax returns, W-2s, and your credit profile.
So 650 minimum credit score on the personal side. Now we have to personal guarantee it.
Yes.
Correct? What type of terms for the 7A loan that is SBA offering, and what kind of interest rates can we expect for that?
Again, like I get excited about this because typically in commercial real estate, the loans, they are shorter. So you got like a 5 year, it's amortized over 20, but it's typically a 5 year term. With the SBA, it's 30 years. So right now I just picked up 3 self-storage facilities as a bundle, total of 240 units. We bundle all the facilities together. Right now, interest rates is not the best, so we got a 9% interest rate, which is tough. But the beautiful thing is, because I got the deal so cheap, right now I'm still profitable, but when interest rates do go back down at some point, we're going to be even more profitable, right? So 30-year, 9% interest rate, obviously is based upon the market. And right now, interest rates, you're taking a beating right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, cash flow is king.
Yeah.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, as long as the deal's still cash flowing, I tell people don't even worry about the rate. The rate is irrelevant to a certain extent, not to all extents, because in some cases, that high interest rate can knock out all your cash flow, and then the deal is just not even worth it. But you say you got how many units?
241 units.
241 on. So you did a portfolio.
Correct.
So was this the same seller who had all 3 of these facilities and bundled up together, or was different sellers and you just kind of bundled it in with the SBA loan? How did
One
that
seller.
work?
So he had 3 facilities. They're all about 15, 20 minutes each from each other. So one is 164 units, the other one is 47, and then 30. And they all within 15 minutes in the same area.
So how was that process like, getting something like that approved with SBA? Was it the 7A loan, or was it a different type of loan that you had to use?
7A loan. So with the 7A loan, it's a minimum of 500,000. So if you buy anything under 500,000, you want to go with this the express loan, which is smaller. So the 2 smaller facilities, typically you wouldn't qualify for the 7A because it was 47 and 30 units, but because I bundled it together with the 164 unit facility, they just put it together as one jumbo loan, one acquisition, but I know it's 3 separate facilities.
So 3 separate facilities, 1 loan, 1 mortgage payment.
Yep.
Everything wrapped in to all. Was that a difficult process getting approved? Let's just say, for example, first answer that question. Was it difficult to get that deal approved?
It depends on who you ask, right?
That shit was difficult. Stop it. Stop playing. Look at your face, son. You know that shit was difficult,
bro.
It's a lot of paper. Come on, bro. This is Rants and Gems, son. We want the gems, man. Don't sugarcoat this shit.
It's a lot of paper. I ain't gonna hold you. It's a lot of paper.
Come on, bro.
Yes, it's a lot of paper. To answer that question, hell yeah. It's a lot of paper. Most people gonna be like, nah, I don't want to have to go through 3 different facilities. I need to see leases for every single unit. I need to see the rent rolls. I need to see the mix of units. I need the tax bills, school tax. Like, there's a lot of paperwork to go into it that most people are going to be like,
So what were some of those obstacles, right, besides the paperwork, right? Because I want, again, Rants and Gems and everything I do is all about learning. It's all about, all right, how can we give people the shortcuts? Obviously, we can't tell them everything, right? They're going to have to join communities and do things like that to really get that further knowledge. But just in a general standpoint, like, what are some of the restrictions or the limitations that SBA might have had with trying to get this deal funded? Because I know when I do portfolio deals, just on regular residential or commercial properties, that shit is a pain in the ass. It is a headache amongst it. I almost hate doing it, right? When you're doing these type of blanket mortgages, because it's just so much, it's paperwork intensive. You got to depend on, especially if you're doing like a blanket loan for like a huge like single family portfolio or something like that. Like, I'm in the process of one right now. It's like 40 properties. So you got 40 appraisals and 40 title reports. And it's a lot that goes along with this. And it's very expensive for the investor up front. So, like, what were some of those things and challenges that you guys faced when you was doing this portfolio deal? Not just with SBA, but just in general.
The biggest challenge would be communication with the seller, because you're pretty much relying on the seller to get you a lot of the documents, right? The bank needs tax returns. The bank needs leases for every single unit. In this particular case, this seller didn't have leases for every single unit. So we had to get over that hurdle of, okay, you don't have these leases over here, but you have the leases for this facility. Can we duplicate it, right? In addition to that, I would say some other challenges that we had was taxes, right? Because each facility, even though it's 15, 20 minutes apart, but one is in a flood zone, right? So the taxes is different from over here, right? So just being able to keep track of the different outliers that comes with each facility, I guess that was a challenge. Just that communication piece with the seller and making sure that's out.
So what was the seller like trying to hold back information? Because some of these sellers are just liars. They just say, oh, this is, it's glittering gold, but it's really shit. Right? So what was he trying to do to kind of make this deal more difficult for you guys?
I don't think he was trying to hold anything back. I think he's 71 years old. So he been in the business 30 years. He didn't keep track of paper. Right? I'm coming in with new, fresh systems, management, right? We tight on the books. He's an old school guy. He's doing a handshake, right? Run out this unit on a handshake. So that was pretty much the barrier of him now having to go backtrack and recreate new things and try to gather stuff that he probably didn't have. I think a lot of the stuff he had to just really create on the fly.
Systems.
Exactly.
You have systems.
That was it.